Hello everyone, welcome to Josh's Boxes. My name is Josh, and today we are finally getting to the very long-awaited second episode of the Crush Chronicles. So, don't worry if you haven't watched the first episode. The point of this series is just me telling stories of dumb things I did as a kid trying to impress girls. So the order doesn't super matter, okay? So if you haven't watched the first episode, don't worry about it. You're still good to watch this one. The context from that first one doesn't matter at all. Okay, so last time we talked about my kindergarten and first grade years. So today we're going to start with, that's right, the third grade. Wait a minute. You skipped the second grade. No, I didn't. I just didn't really like any girls in the second grade, so there's not anything to say about that. But the third grade, that was not the case. Third grade, things pick up a little bit. Things get a little spicy in the third grade, okay? Let me tell you about it. So, what I remember from the third grade was, I was in this, we did this thing called enrichment, right? We did this thing called enrichment, and the idea was that for a couple other subjects, you would go to a different teacher. It was like practice for middle school or something. And so, I would do like science and English and stuff with my normal teacher. But then like once a week, I would do math with a different second teacher and social studies with a third teacher. And so I was in my math enrichment, and it was so weird. It was a weird class because instead of doing homework on paper like normal, we put the paper in these sheet protectors, and then we used wax pencils. So weird. It was like wood, but it had a wax tip in the middle and had like this string around it. Super weird. And we would write on the sheet protectors and then try and clean off the wax afterwards. Super weird. And also nothing to do with this story. Just thought you could appreciate the little fact. Back in my day, we used to use wax sheet protectors when we did our homework in class. So it was in my little math enrichment class that there was this new girl that I just happened to sit right behind. And being a dumb little third grader, didn't even notice that there was a new person. I wasn't super aware of the people around me. And so, there's this new girl around, but I didn't notice until it was pretty normal for teachers to pass papers down the rows, right? And so when she turned around to pass me the paper, it's one of those moments from the movies where like everything slows down and the lighting dims and there's like a light, like a spotlight right on her, and there's like sparkles and angelic choirs in the background, and like her hair flips as she turns around to hand me this little paper with inside of a sheet protector. And I'm like, whoa. Third grade Josh was smitten. I don't know what to say. He was smitten. He was smitten. I don't know what to say. And so it immediately became my mission. This is a new girl. I need to know her name. But instead of being a normal, rationally thinking human being, to be able to just think, oh, start up a conversation with this girl. Ask her, oh, you're new. What's your name? For some reason, that just didn't occur to me. Instead, I relied on two things that have gotten me very far in life. Espionage and economics. That's right, recon and econ. The two classics that never fail me. Maybe. Maybe they never fail me. Or maybe they just explain a lot of the stupid stuff I did in my life. But anyways, recon and econ, baby. So I began my reconnaissance expedition to find out what this new girl's name was. And so I was always trying to position myself in a way where I could look at her paper and see what was written, but not in a way where it looked like I was cheating. Because obviously I wasn't trying to cheat off her paper. I just wanted to see what her name was. But I didn't want it to look like I was cheating, so I was just like... And that didn't work out for obvious reasons. And so we did this little thing called AR, like advanced reading or something like that. And it was essentially you read a book, and then the idea was you read a book and then you take a little test about the book on a computer and it gives you points. And then the teachers usually like give you points, or they give you prizes based on the points that you earned. So if you got like 200 AR points in a year, that was like really good, and you got to have lunch with the teacher or something. And it tells you your name, like up in the corner. And so I was like a predatory animal waiting, because you could take AR tests if you were done with your math. And so I was a tiger hiding in the metaphorical bushes of this classroom, just trying to like pounce the moment that she got off the computer so that I could get on and see what her name was, because I had to like log in on mine, so it would be logged into hers kind of thing. And it took forever. It took like a month of just like very patiently waiting. I had to tap into some like very deeply repressed like evolutionary ancestral hunting tactics in order to have enough patience to do this crap. But I finally learned what her name was. And we're to the point where there's a chance that people who are involved in these stories will actually know, or have a chance of seeing these videos, or people involved in these situations will see these videos maybe. Given how most of my subscribers come from people I know in real life. And so from here on out, I'm going to use fake names for everyone involved, unless like you're my friend, but at least for all the girls, or for anyone who might not potentially want this embarrassing information out on them, all these dumb things that I harass them with, unfortunately. And so from here on out, I'm going to be switching the names. So for all intents and purposes, we will call this girl Lucy, okay? So there it was, boom, Lucy A. Okay, so I've got her name, and this was a moment of jubilation for me, because I was like, yes, a month of just patiently waiting, restraining all of my cat-like muscles for the correct moment to pounce, and finally, I have her name. So what do I do now? It took me so long just to figure out her name that I forgot that names are a means to getting to know someone rather than an end in and of itself. And so I got the name and I was like, well, what the crap do I do now? And that's where part 2 comes out. Reconnaissance done. Time to whip out economics, baby. Recon and econ. Economics, the principle is very simple. All right? There's a simple law of supply and demand. The more that there is of something, the less desirable it is. And the lower amount of something there is, the more desirable it is. So obviously, I need to prove that I'm a special guy, that there aren't a high supply of guys like me, so that my desirability increases. Economics, baby. And so, I decided to whip out in what in my mind was the 3rd grade trump card. That's right. Crayons, baby. When I was in the 3rd grade, Crayola had just barely come out with this pack. It had like 64 crayons in it. And it had a little sharpener on the back where you could sharpen crayons, which, looking back, kind of seems like a scam to me. Why do you need to sharpen crayons? It just seems like you're like just chewing the wax away and getting less crayon for your money. So looking back, I think I got scammed with those crayons. But in the 3rd grade, this was like a status symbol to have the 64 crayon pack with the sharpener in the back, okay? And by some miracle, I had one. I was blessed to have a merciful mother who knew that her son did not have a lot going for him. And so she, in her motherly wisdom, bought me the 64 crayon pack so that I would have something to prove that I was reciprocal liking material. And so I needed a way to flex my 64 crayon pack near Lucy so that she would be impressed and desire my obvious amounts of wealth and resources that I had through this 64 crayon pack. In my mind, it was very simple. I just had to show that I had these crayons, and then seal deal. Reciprocal liking would be engaged. And so I was trying to think of like a natural way to bring this up, to be like, oh yeah, look at my crayons. And so I managed to like weasel and maneuver my way into like halfway through the semester or whatever. Instead of being in rows, we were put in like these groups of 4. And so I somehow managed to weasel my way into the same group of 4 with her. And she was like right across from me. And I was like, okay, it's crayon time, baby. Let's get this economics magic going. And so I was like, just like waiting for the right moment with her. It's like, wasn't any really conversation going on with other people. Obviously, she wasn't talking to me because I was weird and didn't even ask her what her name was. But I was like, oh man, look at this. I was like picking through my crayon box, and I was like, oh man, I've got like 58 crayons I haven't even used yet. I'm like trying to do like a, wow, 68 crayons. Can you believe that? And I've got like 50. I've barely used like 10 of these crayons because I've got just so many crayons. Really makes you want to engage in some reciprocal liking, doesn't it? Believe it or not, in my mind, she would just fall passionately in love with me, or passionately in like with me, because I think that's all that third graders are capable of. But what actually happened was more like she's looking up, writing in her little assignment. She's like, give me one of those little, oh, that's nice. And then she goes back to writing. Which is a normal response for when someone says something stupid and you don't know how to otherwise respond. Oh man. And so I was like, I was so confused. I was like, but economics magic. Aren't you supposed to be enchanted and ensorcelled? What happened? Why aren't you falling in passionate like with me? Dang it. And that, I think, should set the tone for, if the first episode didn't set the tone for how this whole series is going to go, then I hope that did, because, oh man, I was so confused on why that didn't work. Economics had failed me for the first time, but it wouldn't be the last time, let me tell you that. I'm a college student, so economics is not my strong suit, let me tell you that. Anyways, so that is basically all that I remember from the 3rd grade. 4th grade didn't have a whole lot of developments beyond that, but one thing I do remember is, in grade school you need a covert way to talk about your crush with your buddies. In case someone overhears you, you don't want them to hear who you like. So my code name for her was Strawberries. So anytime I'd be talking about her with my buddies, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's Strawberries. She's so cool. Man, Strawberries. I'm smitten by her. Let me tell you what. Anyways, so there was one day when my buddy, Alex, was like, dude, you need to man up and tell her that you like her. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. That would be terrible. Then she would know. And that would be bad. Because obviously she doesn't have a lot of interest going on in here. And he's like, dude, if you don't tell her, I'm gonna tell her. And I'm like, you better frickin' not. He's like, yeah, dude, I frickin' will. I will tell her if you don't. And I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna tell her. That's social suicide. Or at least in my third grade brain, it was suicide. And he was like, he was a lot taller than me and a lot faster than me. A lot. I was very short in the third grade, so most people were taller than me. And so he used his physiological advantages unfairly and ran across the playground before I could catch up to him. And he runs up to her and he's like, hey Lucy, guess what? And she's like, oh, why are you talking to me? And he's like, no, guess what? That's right. Josh likes strawberries. And then he like runs away across the playground and I'm like, no. Now she's gonna think I'm an idiot. As if all the baloney that I'd done before had not already established that fact. And so I was crushed and devastated. But nothing came out of that. She probably forgot immediately after because it was a nonsense statement. I hope that is the case. The most merciful outcome is that she just forgot that it happened. And that's all that I remember happening crush-wise in the 4th grade. In the 5th grade, there was lots of weird drama because there were some other guys that liked her. One of them was a buddy and a sort of buddy, but he was really competitive, so he would like, oh yeah, I went to her birthday and you didn't. You're a loser and she's gonna marry me and not you. Whatever. And then the other one was this really popular guy who used this like mathematical equation that only 5th graders would understand, where like each letter of their name is corresponding to its numerical order in the alphabet, right? So like A is worth 1 point, B is worth 2 points, and you do the math of like all the common letters that you have in their name, and that's the odds of you falling in love and getting married. I only had recon and econ. I definitely didn't have statistics, so I couldn't produce these calculations, but he produced like 98%. And so I was like, man, this guy's got it down. I need to figure out statistics. And I never did. I never did. And maybe that's what my problem was. Maybe I just needed recon, econ, and stats. And that's what my missing ingredient was. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe I just had it right in front of me all this time. And it didn't work out. And then the last year that I'll cover in this episode is the 6th grade. And I don't remember a whole lot in the 6th grade, but 6th grade was a pretty big transition because you're in middle school now. So before you've just got your elementary school, but there was only one middle school in my city because I lived in a pretty small city. And so all the elementary schools would converge into this one middle school. And so your pool of potential girls that you like increases by like 6 times. And so there was lots of like little crushes that I had in the 6th grade where like nothing happened. No approaches were made. No funny stories really came out of it. I just remember that I always tried to make like little acronyms out of it, and I could spell like, it was like flags or some. There's like 5 girls that I liked, and it spelled out like flags or bags or something. I don't remember, but I tried to make some acronym to keep it organized because I was experiencing all these new cute girls in my grade. But that's all I remember, and nothing really came out of it. But yeah. So there you have it. Episode 2 of the Crush Chronicles, Recon and Econ. I hope that you can learn from my mistakes. If you happen to be between 3rd grade and 6th grade, let me give you a little advice. Don't freak out about your crushes, okay? Don't try and do weird stuff. Don't try and immediately expect them to fall in passionate liking with you just because you have 64 crayons. even though that is a really impressive number of crayons, and you clearly have capable abilities to produce resources. But alas, the point is, just if you think someone's cool, ask them what their name is and talk to them, and just like ask them, hey, what's your name? Where are you from? It's probably from the same city, but who knows? If they're new, they might have moved. What do you like to do? What is your favorite YouTube channel? Whatever. Just talk to people like normal and be their friends, and don't worry about crushes the time, because it probably won't work out anyways. At least if you follow my tips, it won't work out, and I can guarantee that, okay? So that is the Josh's Boxes guarantee, 100%. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like, and if you're interested in following the stupid shenanigans I did through the rest of my teenage years, go ahead and subscribe so you can get notified of when such shenanigans are posted. But thanks so much for watching. This is box number 20, signing out. Until next time, ciao. The fans are still going on. Dang it. Hey Lucy, guess what? One second. I just set an alarm, and I was supposed to remember something, but I didn't label the alarm, so I don't remember what it was. So that stinks. Hopefully it wasn't something important. It was like one of those moments from the movies when everything goes in slow motion. This chair's loud. I'm gonna go get a different one. Strawberries. Let me get one of those milkshakes. What am I talking about? I'm sorry about that one. Anyways,